The Klingons are one of the most iconic species in Star Trek, but who are they? Hey Trekkies, Christian Fox here with another video for you. Today, I want to talk about the Klingons in TNG and answer the question, who are the Klingons? The Klingons are a warrior race native to the planet Kronos. Klingons live for the fight and view dying in battle as the best way to go out. Not only is it considered extremely honorable, but it gets you a one-way ticket to Stofakor, Klingon Heaven. Not to be confused with that other place, Grethor, Klingon Hell, as seen in Voyager. Klingon society follows a caste system where families are referred to by their house named after the male head of the family. The wealthier and more influence a house has, the more likely one can join the Klingon Defense Force and even get a seat on the High Council. Klingons have been around almost since the very beginning of Trek, being introduced in TOS's first season. In that series, they were just typical bad guys who were meant to cause trouble for Kirk and the gang. By the original series films, they got their iconic bumpy foreheads, their classic costumes, and their legendary language. By the last films, Klingons entered a formal peace with the Federation by way of the Khitomer Accords. Although there were some mentions to honor, it wasn't until TNG that Klingons really became fleshed out. So why were the Klingons important to TNG? One reason is that we get to see Picard actively involved in politics. One of the biggest rules of the Federation is obviously to not get involved with other species and to not interfere with their politics. However, we get to see full involvement where the Klingons are concerned. We get to see him act as Chajich to Worf when Worf's family faces discommendation. In this storyline, Worf's family is essentially on trial, and if found guilty, Worf and his family name would be stripped of honor, stripped of all titles, and shunned by Klingon society, and this would remain for 7 generations. Basically, it's like excommunicado in John Wick, but for Klingons. Chajich acts as their second and can answer personal combat challenges, something that one who faces discommendation can't do. In another storyline, Picard is asked to be the arbiter of succession. In this position, Picard was responsible for determining which of the two challengers, Gowron or Duras, would become the next Chancellor of the Klingon Empire. Ultimately, Gowron is chosen. Picard is later called back to Kronos as arbiter to oversee Gowron's installation. This leads to the second reason, which is the Klingon Civil War. During Gowron's installation, the Duras sisters show up with a massive fleet, challenge his validity, and plunge the entire Klingon Empire into civil war. It's the first time in the franchise that we really get to see how the Federation deals with war. Granted, they're not in the war, but we get to see how they deal with it in their efforts to prove Romulan involvement. We also get to see Worf go full Klingon as he serves on a Klingon ship, which, let me tell you, is an absolute treat. Finally, we get some great data stuff where he commands his own ship and single-handedly saves the day while dealing with a truly awful first officer. Klingons get even more depth in Deep Space Nine, but I'll save those videos for when I get to that series.